What is up? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a beginner's guide to Conquest of Azeroth. I will be giving away 3 copies of this alpha soon, and because of that, I felt like I owe it to any new players that are coming into Conquest of Azeroth to give them my top 5 tips on how to start the game off right. Let's jump into this video. Tip number 1, read everything thoroughly. When you make your way into the character creation screen, you will be met with a screen full of new classes you probably have zero idea on how to play, right? There is no reason to worry if you always come back to tip 1. Read and read and read it again. The class descriptions laid out in this alpha are actually very informative and will get you going on the right track if you spend just a few minutes thinking about what it's trying to tell you. Once you have picked which class you want and get into the game proper, repeat tip number 1. Read your tooltips over and over again until you understand every word in them. I spent easily 100 hours already in the alpha, and I can't think of one time where a tooltip was so confusing to the point I couldn't figure it out. At worst, I would spend a few minutes in-game just casting the spell or ability on random targets to try and figure out the mechanics. Alpha testing games involves a lot of reading to see if everything matches the words on the tooltips, and if they don't, or you think it's confusing, submit your feedback to the Discord. It's there for a reason. Shouting in world chat doesn't really do anything to fix the problem. Tip number 2, try it for yourself first, then ask for help later. This tip might be more of a meta tip about games in general, but this applies really well to the alpha of this game as well. In world chat for days on end, I am constantly seeing things being asked that would realistically only take 15 or 20 seconds of testing to figure out the answer for yourself. I would estimate easily during a 4 to 6 hour play session, I see 20 plus messages in world chat asking, what is X class's main stat? Not that asking the question is a problem, but these types of things can be sorted out on your own even with the most basic of game knowledge and time investment. And at the end of the day, this is an alpha. Testing every main stat for every class is actually what you want to do. There could be unintended scaling of stats and hidden mechanics misbehaving that need to be sorted out during the alpha so these things don't make it to the release date. I implore anyone who's new to resist the urge to ask a question too quickly, because if you figure out the answer to your own question, your game knowledge and ability to play the game will increase at an exponential rate. This also allows you to adapt to new changes and game mechanics we will all likely see later in the game's lifetime. Tip number 3, being okay with being disappointed. Not everything in this game will be for every single person. Not every class will be an indomitable godly killing machine. Not every class you play will be the best class in every single scenario, and that's perfectly fine. With that being said, don't give up on something too early. Since this is only phase 2 of the alpha, many things about your class you choose are going to be changed on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times per day. Numbers being adjusted, bugs being fixed, and mechanics being ironed out over and over again. The problem you have with the class in its current state could be fixed by tomorrow. I could easily say at least 500 times in the world chat I have seen a message reading something like, "Oh man, this class sucks, it deals no damage and dies all the time." After whispering them, they tell me they are level 7 in the Barrens with their starting gray gear on and have 2 to 3 abilities, wondering why this class quote-unquote feels bad. My suggestion to anyone who might feel this way about a class, give it till at least level 15 to 20 before coming to the conclusion you don't like that class. A lot of the fun or stronger abilities start to unlock about at level 12 and up from many of the classes I've leveled so far. Also keep in mind that this phase of this alpha was outright said by the developers that is to test base class kits while leveling. The choice may be changed later, but right now we will all have a fixed class up until level 30, and then at level 31 plus we get to choose our own path, and this could very easily fix 90% of people's problems with the classes in their current state. Tip number 4, grind humanoids for early game gold. If you are totally fresh to the server, meaning you have no shop cosmetic items or vanity items like bigger bags or free mounts, and you are struggling for gold, my tip is to farm humanoid monsters. Humans, yetis, ogres, kobolds, or anything humanoid tend to drop more gray and greed items than the local wildlife does. Even just getting 8 slot bags and finding some humans in the open world could easily net you 10 gold by level 15 if you spend the time to vendor everything you don't need. Don't waste your time going to the capital cities at the start to put things on the auction house, just vendor grays and greens you don't need at the start. Once you get yourself a comfortable amount of gold, maybe around 15 to 20, head back to the capital cities and hit up that auction house. There is no reason for you to be sitting on gold while leveling if you're wearing garbage gear and walking around with no mount. It's an alpha. Get out there and spend that gold. The faster you level, the faster you can get to max level, and then if you want to farm even more gold to fund your next couple characters, do it then, not while leveling. Do everything you can to speed up your leveling, which means buying low level enchants, getting temporary weapon buffs, and trying to get the best gear for your level you can. It will make your experience in the alpha infinitely more enjoyable rather than walking around looking homeless. Tip number 5, be realistic with your expectations. Anyone who has seen some of my other videos on the full 1 through 30 playthroughs or even the 1 through 10 first impressions would frequently hear me saying that skills and abilities feel insanely powerful, or sometimes saying that certain classes feel worse than other classes. I will tell you now, every single class is abusively strong to the point of absurdity in the right context. Do certain classes feel stronger than others at, say, level 19? Yes, and to think otherwise would be silly. Does a class doing 1/4 the damage of another class feel bad at level 30? Yeah, of course, but we have more than 30 levels and literally tens of thousands of talent combinations no one has yet to play with. What feels bad right now or overpowered in a short time could be the worst or best thing around, and you should come to expect it from an alpha. These things change. The most common thing I see and hear from players is X class is broken or Y ability sucks, yet when I play those classes I tend not to feel the same way because of my outlook on the situation. If your class can solo, even if it's a very rough experience, a dungeon meant originally for 5 players of your level to complete, your class is disgustingly overpowered. You may forget that at times, but if you solo a dungeon, you are performing at a level that 5 people combined are supposed to be performing at. That's on par of taking 5 people to a 25-man raid of current endgame content and beating it. If you're a diehard PvP player and you think your class is crappy or a certain class is overpowered, just remember, we're all fighting each other with nuclear warheads. This is not retail WoW or classic WoW for that matter. Please don't forget that. If you're getting frustrated, put the character on the back burner and try something new. There are 20 classes to choose from and you never know which one you're going to really fall in love with. I'd love to hear your feedback on this video. If any of these tips were helpful for you, give the video a like and leave your comments down below. And with that, this video is done. Subscribe below for more content. I will see you in the next one.